Alright, so today I'm going to talk about the first time I ever smoked real weed. Um, Before this story took place, I used carts all the time because, you know, I never really had any like place that I could actually smoke and get away with it because my mom could pick up that smell so easily. She always has been able to. She did it with my sister all the time. Um, so yeah, I was kind of a cart fiend before this because of that reason. But this story takes place at the beach. This is quite the story. So we had this night, this plan in mind for a few days before this actually took place. And for this specific night, our this story involves the three characters from my craziest high experience video, Peter, Mike, and Danny. But it also involves their cousin. So Peter, Mike, and Danny are triplets. Their cousin Aiden was also there. He was the one who, or we're gonna call him Aiden. You know, that's not his real name, but gotta do it. So Aiden was the one that actually had the weed. He's a little older than us. I think he's 28, something like that. But he has his medical card. So that was great. So Danny was sleeping over at our beach house because Peter, Mike, and I were staying in a house together. Danny was staying with us just for this night. So we knew that whatever we did that night had to be something good because every time Danny stays with us, we always do some crazy shit. So we had this night all planned out, but we didn't know we were actually going to go through with it until that night because we had the plan all figured out, but we knew it was risky, so we just didn't really know we were going to do it. But so Danny was sleeping over and we just talked about it and we were like, fine, you know what, we're just gonna go through with it. So we hit up Aiden and he was like that where he was staying at the beach was like a few blocks down from where Peter, Mike, and I were staying. So we hit him up and he was like, all right, let's do it, I'm on my way, I'll be there in like 15 minutes or whatever. Now the thing about this was we were kind of sneaking out because so I was with Peter and Mike's parents. They were the one who took me on vacation. So we were kind of sneaking out because they knew we were going out that night, but they always tell us to come back before like 11. We left at like 11 this night. But anyway, so we got out there and we meet up with Aiden down at the bottom of our condo unit, and you know we're just chatting up a little bit, and then we decide to go onto the beach because obviously that's where we would be smoking. And we tried to find it was super windy that whole week we were down there, so we were trying to find a place we could go to that wouldn't be as windy, but we wanted to do it on the beach. We didn't want to do it like out in the city somewhere. We wanted to do it on the beach. So we're thinking, we're sitting at this little bench that's right in front of the beach right before you get onto it, and we're just sitting there thinking, and while we're thinking and talking about it, these people in another condo unit near us just like kept staring at us. They were definitely sus. They knew something was going on, but I don't know if they ever really figured it out. But they kept staring at us, and eventually we just went on to the beach, and we still didn't know where we were gonna smoke because of all this wind. So we're talking, we're thinking about it, and we finally set on this one place, and of course the only place that could block the wind was a porta potty. So we decided to go over to this porta potty, right? And we were like, there's no way we can pull this off, because he didn't have, we smoked it out of a joint, so he didn't have the joint packed yet, but he still had to grind all that shit up and pack it. And like, he was like, no way I'm going into that porta potty to pack this joint. And he couldn't do it behind the porta potties, because even there it still would have been windy as fuck. But after a few minutes of just like, what do we do, he was like, fine, I'll just, Aiden was just like, fine, I'll just go in and pack the joint in the porta potty. Don't forget, this was at night, it was dark, and I don't know why he didn't use his flashlight, but he went in there blind, basically, because there was no light. He couldn't see anything, so he grinded up this weed without seeing anything. He packed the joint, couldn't see how packed it was, but I mean, hey, it worked. So after about like a good 10 minutes of being in that porta potty, Aiden finally came out, and we were hyped. Danny, it was actually, so Mike didn't go down with us because he didn't want to, but Peter, Danny, and I were down there, and we were all really hyped. We were just like, finally we get to do this. Well, Danny's smoked weed before, but Peter and I have not. So we were super hyped for this. And he comes out, and we go to the back of the porta potty where it wasn't windy, and he puts on this song. I can't remember what song it was, but Aiden puts on a song just to like get us in the mood or whatever. And Peter was freaking out a little bit. He was like, he was scared that he would get paranoid, something would happen or whatever, which is a funny thing, because you'll see how this switches later. So I was chill. I was really excited to do this. But we light up this joint, right? And now, don't forget, this is medical marijuana, so it was pretty strong. But I took like 5 pretty good hits. I mean, they weren't like the longest hits, but they weren't pussy hits. So I mean, they were like decent hits. Peter took 4, I think. I'm not totally sure, but it was only one joint for all of us, so we couldn't take too many anyway. So we took our hits. They smoked the rest of it, and then we were just sitting there on the beach waiting for it to kick in. And usually when I get high, at least before this, I guess it was because I was using cart so often, the carts just like hit you. They just like smack you out of nowhere, and you're just like, holy fuck, I'm high. This was nice because I could just like feel it kind of creeping in. Like, it wasn't like a all of a sudden like, holy fuck, I'm high. It was like I started to feel like a really small buzz, and then it would work its way up, which was nice. I've heard that before, like that's what actual weed does, which was really nice. And then it started to kick in full force. Now, I always get like really cold feet and really cold hands, and it gets like really bad. And so I started to get super fucking cold while I was out there, because I usually get cold when I'm high anyway. And then we were outside, plus it was like super, super windy outside. Oh, and I didn't have socks on either, because I was wearing slides. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. Probably because we were going on the beach, but still, like, I should have thought ahead. Anyway, I started to get super, super hot, super, super cold. And then we start walking back. So I was like, all right, we're going to be going back. That's sick. Well, we got to the end of the beach, and those people that were staring at us before definitely knew something was up now, because we came off the beach, and I don't know if I actually was, but like, I felt myself stumbling around while I was trying to walk, because like I started to get like really high, because like my tolerance was really low, especially for real weed, because I never smoked real weed. My tolerance was really low at that point, so like I was starting to get really high. and I was stumbling around walking off this beach, and they were watching us, and they definitely knew something was up, but I don't know, it was kind of sus, but, or I guess we were kind of sus, whatever, same thing. But so we got off the beach and we sat at that same bench that we were sitting at before. Before we went on to the beach, we sat at that same bench, and I swear to God, we were standing there for like 30 minutes. At least that's what I felt. And then I looked at the time, and it was literally like 5 minutes. We were only standing there for like 5 minutes. But I started to get like freezing, and it started to make me tweak like a lot, because I was like super cold, and I could stop. I like couldn't feel my feet anymore, and I was high as fuck. So like that started to make me like freak out, because losing feeling in your limbs while you're high just is scary. So we were standing there, and we were just talking, and it was pretty nice there, but I started to get super paranoid, and they wanted to go to the boardwalk like really badly, but I would have loved to go, but like I could not feel anything. I couldn't feel my hands or my feet, and they were like they were super cold, and I was starting to get like super paranoid because of that. So I was just like, all right, you guys can go to the boardwalk. I'm going to go back into the condo. So they went to the boardwalk, and I went to the condo. Oh, also, when we got under the light for the first time at the condo building, my hands were like splotchy orange. It was weird. Like there were like parts on, there were little dots on my hands that were orange. And I searched it up, and it's some sort of symptom of some syndrome, but I don't know, it's like makes you like really, your hands and feet really cold, which probably would explain a lot. Now, I don't know, I haven't been like diagnosed with it, but whatever. But I had like orange dots on my hand, and you know, like orange isn't a color, and it was not like a subtle orange. No, it was like highlighter orange. And highlighter orange isn't a color you expect to see on your skin. So like normally when you see that would be really scary. But I was also high. So like I saw it and I was like, "Oh." And that really set in stone my paranoia. Like I was tweaking. I was so scared at that point, cuz I didn't know if my hands were going to like fall off or something. I didn't know. But so I went up to the condo, and then I just kind of sat there and watched YouTube. It was really relaxing, actually. It was nice. And then I went out on the balcony for a little bit to watch the stars, because something I like doing normally is watching the stars. So like then I just really liked it. I was just looking up at the stars. It was great. But they went to the boardwalk. They were there for I think like an hour, something like that. I don't really know. I was not paying attention to time. And then I hear I hear Peter come back, because he was the only one that was supposed to come back with us, or with them. He was the only one that was supposed to come back in general, back up into the room. But then I see Danny and Aiden walk in behind him, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing here? Because his parents, well, his mom at least, is not the heaviest of sleepers, so if any of them woke up and came out to us, like, we didn't smell like weed because we smoked where it was really windy anyway. So we didn't smell like it, so that wasn't a problem, but there was no hiding it. Like, the way they were acting was, it was like, if their parents woke up, like, they easily would have known. Also, they probably would have been really mad because we were out so late. Anyway, so like they walked in behind Peter, and it kind of tweaked me out a little bit seeing them there again, because like that was a bad situation. Peter and I kind of just turned them around and just got them out as fast as possible. But once Peter was back and everything was good, that was kind of where our night ended. We just sat and watched YouTube, played a little Xbox, but besides that, it was good. Yeah, so I'd say like the first time in better circumstances for me, it would have been a great experience. Like I would have loved that. But I started to tweak a little bit because I was really cold. I mean, it was still a really fun experience. I felt great. I felt great when I got back to the condo, which was nice. But yeah, it went pretty smooth except for the fact that I was really cold. But it was just a funny story because we packed that in we smoked for my first time at a porta potty, which was interesting. So yeah, that was the story about the first time I ever smoked real weed. It wasn't anything crazy, just a fun little story to tell, but all right. Thank you.